War Games on the Olympic Peninsula. My primary question is as simple as this. What are your questions as you've been thinking about this? I'm scared for the mammals, the plants, birds, and bees, and for the people who are meant to operate these things. Meanwhile, Dumb and Dumber advertised as the next fling while we get dumber trying to fight this thing. No news on the news helping us free our lives, teaching us old skills or about honeybee hives. We're supposed to tune out and remain clueless, but this is our life, and we shouldn't do this. I don't want to fight you. I don't want to fight this. I'm tired of fighting and all this craziness. I'm tired of living in a culture that tells me it's more important to know who's who than my own true tellings. Why are you training for war games when the world as we know it is already at ends? When you start from scratch and think of your life, how would you design it? What would it be like? What is possible for life on Earth? Why are you training for war games when the war brings death, destruction, and mental health illness? What are your predictions about all the things that could go wrong? Do you have a strategy for dealing with problems? Why are you training for war games when you don't even know all of the consequences? Don't you want to understand all the consequences? Don't you? I feel like none of us know the full story, not me or you. Only this radiation can deform living tissue from hundreds of yards away and send all the flying creatures from their pathways astray. How do you plan to take care of the people who participate in this thing? Are they still stuck in a video game with a controller in hand, or will they be given an understanding of exactly what they're doing to the land? Will their children's forests be just toxic waste? Will my children be able to commune with this place? The land that we live on, within which our families survive, everything comes from Earth in connection with all creatures low and high. This isn't a fantasy. This isn't a game. This isn't about hit points and most number of kills. This is real life. And where's your training program for that? Where's your war game for the game of PTSD? Where's your war game for learning how to be free? Where's your war game for learning to speak the truth? Where's your war game for domestic abuse? Did you know that with veterans, it's out the roof? Violence against women and children, I mean. More of it's done by those who come back from war than every person we've killed on the other shore. More deaths and beatings at home than those we wish to demonize on a faraway show. And don't worry, I know. You don't care about this. This has nothing to do with electromagnetics, the kind that control our blood circulation and the pathways of all creatures that live in creation. How do the currents change mycelial networks? Do they affect those with illness? Does it get worse? How do they affect the things we can't see with our eyes? How can we work together instead of the game of truth and lies? How do you account for pollution from extra traffic and the factories that make all these planes and tanks in? And all right, I've got a question for you. What will you do when you look up and the sky is no longer blue? The horizon washed out from metals we burn into the sky, and I know you're not interested in talking about planes. I think that strategy is lame. You've supposedly got a one-track mind for the problem with trucks, never mind all the growlers. You don't give a fuck. It doesn't matter the horrendous noise. It doesn't matter the pollution they bring. To you, it doesn't mean a thing. But I challenge you in this culture of thought. These things are not separate, each existing in their own tiny box. All things are connected. You can't drive these dangerous tanks without the planes in the sky to follow their flanks. We need you and your hearts and your heads to do what you love instead of just what was said. The time has come to stop following orders, to find in your heart how you want to move forward. Why must war continue when all we really want is to breathe and be led, to grow into who we came here to become? To share in the grief, the connection, and hugs, to smell sweet vegetables and meat on the stove, and to fall in love with the song of our home. Today, I was so mad. I'm a builder and the screws were stripping. My anger and exhaustion were back and forth flipping. Some days strip screws just make me laugh, but today, you're also bearing the brunt of my wrath. I've got a deadline at the week's end, but it's all in my mind, the tasks I created. I can give them up just as easy as they began. It's a choice, and I choose it every day that I am. To dedicate myself to my life's work, Some days I don't know what it is and it hurts. But I guarantee you I've worked harder than most, and for that I am proud and content to boast. And security guards paid a very high wage, many of them are just cracked up on cocaine. But what more are they to do? No one ever asked them what they'd do if they looked up and the sky was no longer blue. No one ever told them they could make a difference, that it was okay to cry and there was a place for belligerence. I'm not trying to say there's no place for war. I'm only trying to say, as humans, we've already got it in scores. There's a tension that lives inside each and every person in all humankind. There's a place for fighting, a place for anger and tears, but the direction we're going, it's too far here. It's not balanced with a respect for anything, to be frank. It's just about turning the same damn war machine crank. People murder for money all the time. Why has money become so important to their minds? Because culture told them they needed it to survive. Who does this benefit? Tell me that. And where the money leads you, better questions you must ask. Because you're the ones who are meant to fight that battle. You're in the middle of it, and you have the best perspective on how to navigate that shithole of directives. The projects that we need are not more destruction. The projects we need are regeneration. We need better buildings, less roads, and more trees, better systems of governance and integrity among our police. We need better judgment in general and far less rules. We need better food and hand tools and schools. The kind of bonding that comes from fighting together in war is not taken away when you work on these projects more. There is not a lack for things to do. What is best for your life? You're the one with the best clue. Not some hero or bureaucrat or chief officer. You're the one to design your life's posture. My primary question remains as simple as this. What are your questions as you've been thinking about this? And I can't believe we even have to protest this shit.